Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. For this week's episode, we are back with an Unpopular Opinions Reddit episode. So if you're unfamiliar,
we love doing these Reddit episodes.
Basically how this works is there's a huge Unpopular Opinions subreddit on Reddit. And
Reddit's just an online forum. Anyone and everyone
the
posts
homepage of the
there.
internet, I think is the tagline. So basically we go through the Unpopular Opinions subreddit. Megan finds some she thinks are interesting. I find some I think are interesting. We go through, we chat about them, we say if we agree or disagree, whether or not they're truly unpopular or not.
So we will jump to that for the second portion of the episode during our first half. It probably won't be a full half, but we do like chatting and just catching up, sharing our weekly spotlights, and doing a little book update before we jump into the meat of the episode.
So, what is your weekly spotlight?
My weekly spotlight is that I feel like we're getting things going for the basement makeover, and I am just excited because I was hoping it wouldn't get stagnant after we like painted and stuff last weekend, but I feel like we're continuing to make pretty good progress. We got our mini fridge delivered and installed over the weekend, so like the little kitchenette back there is gonna be our little movie theater snack station.
I'm excited to stock it up.
I know, right?
Like,
That's
I'm gonna be one of
like
those,
way down the line.
you know, like those TikTok accounts where people like stock stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna feel like that kind of person.
So we've got an accent wall that we want to work on that we got some good news on, and then we
Need to get the trim put in.
Yeah.
Probably like the
and
next.
we were thinking about like our dad was kind of like we could start painting the trim at least like sometime this week or weekend, just so that can get going. I'm like we could like we're at a point where it's like we other than like the projector maybe it's like the one other thing that would like hold us back in terms of like really getting going, but it's like we could freaking order a couch like in theory, you know, and then like the rest of the decor too, but like the couch
Would be the
was
big
like
one.
the big ticket item.
Yeah. So
Projectors are expensive.
yeah, projectors might be the big ticket item.
The couch is more still. Oops. I am sorry if that messed up with the audio.
Okay, so my weekly spotlight is that we had a nice little like I say Super Bowl party lightly. It was literally me, Megan, and then our friend Abby. But Abby had asked us like the week before if we had any Super Bowl plans, and we had not. And so I was like, no. And she asked if we could watch it together. And so we got some food. She brought over some corn dip that was actually really good. And she brought Fritos with it. I love Fritos. I feel like Fritos
are
are
so underrated.
They're such an underrated chip.
Like no one really goes and just like buys Fritos, but then like anytime
If there's like a
them,
bag of like, you know, people get those small multi-bags. I feel like if there is a bag of Fritos, like I'll reach for it. I'll be like, I'll take the Fritos. So everyone's always like reaching for the Lay's or the Doritos. And I'm like, I am not above Fritos. I love Fritos.
Mm-hmm. They're good.
So her corn dip was really good. We made some buffalo chicken, which evidently is too spicy for a lot of people. Which, I mean, so Abby had asked, she's like, is it spicy? And I'm just like, it's no spicier than any other buffalo sauce. So if you are familiar with buffalo sauce. And Megan and I, we just, last year, it's almost been our 1 year, it has been our 1 year anniversary of eating buffalo wings. Because in Hawaii last year,
that Marriott,
the Marriott had like a bunch of different appetizers and stuff. And so
one
when we
thing
first
about
got
me
there,
is like when I go on vacation, like I am not above eating at the hotel restaurant more often than not.
mm-hmm. And so we first got there. It was pretty late when we got there, right?
I
don't
believe
even remember, honestly. Anyway, we got a bunch of food at the restaurant, and I'd always been like, oh, like I'm afraid of wings. Like I don't like spicy stuff. So I just had never tried like any buffalo wings. And so we got a bunch of food. And I think that our mom and grandma must have, you know, they like buffalo wings enough that they ordered some. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll try it. And I do think initially I was like
once
this is kind
you
of spicy, like kind of hot.
But once you get past that,
But then I was like, it's kind of good though. And so then I was like, I don't think it's that spicy anymore. But like I think when I was first eating it, I was like, ooh, it's like spicy, but
and
it's
it
good,
does
so I
kind of
want
build
more.
on itself a little bit.
Anyway,
There was a moment yesterday where like even I was kind of like after a few, like it's hot, but it's not like I don't handle spicy stuff very well.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying is like that's probably the spiciest thing that we eat. And like I also think about like taco pizza and stuff. Haley, she's like notorious for not liking spicy stuff, and we'll have like taco pizza and she's like, ooh, the taco pizza is spicy, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's taco pizza. Anyway, so we made buffalo. I say buffalo wings in quotes. It's just chicken with buffalo sauce basically. And then we had some cookies. Abby brought some brownies. And it was good. Great food. Oh, and then we got some tater tots too.
Yeah. I feel like the Super Bowl in general, I mean, I always watch the Super Bowl every year. I feel like it was kind of a very, like, slow, boring to watch game.
The end was more interesting, like, when they started, like, going back and forth and, like, tie it up, and then they'd get ahead.
I didn't really care who won, but I was kind of rooting for... Here's my thought process. I was like, I don't really care because it's either, like, the state of Iowa versus Taylor Swift's boyfriend. That was my thought process. The state of Iowa being Brock Purdy is an Iowa State alum, and then George Kittle is a University of Iowa alum. And so I was kind of like, okay, the entire state can kind of, like, root for these two. However, a good portion of the state is, like, they're going to get a lot of Chiefs fans just because of proximity. And I don't dislike the Chiefs. Like, they're fine. But I am one that loves Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift together. So I was kind of like, if he wins, then she'll be happy.
And, like, when she'll get to go on the field, and we'll get to see some content. Which I need to see more content of them. I feel like I've only seen, like, a little bit.
Yeah.
I haven't been on TikTok enough to really, like, say what all the content is. Like, have I seen it all or have I not? I don't know. Like, I saw, like, the video of him being like, come here, girl. And, like, them, like, each blowing a kiss to each other. Like, he was on the stage, like, blowing a kiss. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's what I've seen so far. So, I don't know if there's more.
So, I kind of at the end when, like,
Instagram.
When Taylor the 49ers lost, or Chiefs won, however you want to word it, I did find, like, I was a little bit upset. So I do think, obviously, I was kind of rooting for the 49ers a little bit more, but I have no stake in the game, so I don't really care.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about commercials and then halftime show. This has been a trend, but I feel like the commercials just, like, have not been a thing.
This is one of the unpopular opinions.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, then we can jump back into that when we get to the unpopular opinions. There was a couple that I did
my general
like,
thought
though.
Was kind of like, I was trying to go into it, like, watching it. I was like, let me keep track of, like, my favorite commercials. And then I was like, there was just, like, almost none to really, like,
you know what I wonder?
That really stuck in my brain.
With, like, the internet being a thing, people just, like, release their ads not only early, but, like, I feel like people release ads and then, like, they don't play during the Super Bowl because, like, they don't have to pay for a slot, you know? Right.
That was not even a Super Bowl commercial, right?
That's what I'm saying. Is like, oh, like, this is the Super Bowl ad, and then, like, it didn't play, and it's like, oh, that's probably smart on your part because then you don't have to pay for a Super Bowl slot. And but everyone's like, oh, like, this is their Super Bowl ad.
Yeah.
Even though it's not. Anyway, honorable mentions for ads that I liked. The Google Pixel ad with, like,
I always I know the Super Bowl is kind of known for funny commercials, but I always feel like the emotional ones hit harder.
Mm-hmm. I predicted the ending. I mean, I know I could have seen that, like, a mile away, what the ending was, but it was basically showing off their new features for people who have, like, poor vision or, like, are blind, and it will show, like, for if they're taking a picture, it'll say, like, what's in the frame. And so it's like, oh, like, 2 faces in frame. I think it started with, like, 1 face in frame. And then, like, it's this guy, like, entering into a relationship and, like, taking pictures with his girlfriend and then his wife. And it's 2 faces in the frame. And then it ends. I was like, it's going to end with 3 faces in the frame because they're going to have a baby. And that's how it ended. So I like that one. I thought it was cute.
I saw a lot of people also really liked the Dunkin' commercial because it had, like, so many celebrities. Like, it had Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, J-Lo, Tom Brady, Jack Harlow. Like, had a lot of people.
I feel like the more, like, celebrities you can get, it's almost like, wow, like, okay.
Yeah.
Makes it more exciting. I liked, what was the commercial?
Messi.
I did like that one too. That's not the one I was thinking of.
Beer one. Michelob Ultra?
I think that was Michelob Ultra. Shoot, now I'm not going to remember what it was. I'll try and think of it when we're either now or, like, when we get to the Super Bowl one again. And then as far as halftime show, I know Usher's music in a very general sense is what I've learned. I'm like, I know, yeah. He didn't even do DJ Got Us Falling in Love Again. That's, like, one of the ones that I actually do know. But his older music, like the early 2000s, I realize I don't know.
I didn't have really any expectations going into the halftime show, because I know Usher's songs, but, like, not a lot. I'm not, like, a huge fan. And I also was kind of like, Rihanna's show last year, like, beat my expectations. Like, I liked it more than I thought I was going to, because I would kind of say, like, without having seen either of their performances, like, I don't really listen to any of their music regularly, so, like, they're kind of, like, in that sense, like, on an even playing field in my mind. But then after her performance last year, like, I went back and, like, rewatched that performance a couple times because I was like, this is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then
we showed Dad the performance. Do you remember we had him over and we're like, watch this?
Yeah. And
I need to rewatch that part. I just remembered the part where, like, the camera's going down the Like,
that's the best part.
I know. I just remembered it though. I haven't seen it in a while. I should watch it.
I felt like I was really overwhelmed at the beginning of Usher's performance. I was like, he had the entire field was just filled with like varying circus people and dancers, and he was just on the field himself. And I was like, I am so. Is there a stage? Because for the first few minutes, like, wasn't even on stage. I was like, I guess you can save money by not having a stage. It was just like too much.
Did you see a TikTok that someone posted? And they're like, now I get why I saw Usher at my local skating rink in November, and he was just like literally at a skating, like a roller rink skating.
Interesting.
But then I saw some people saying like he like legitimately just like enjoys.
I feel like you'd have
skating.
to for you to decide like I'm including this in my performance.
Whether or not he was doing that just for fun or for practice.
Thought, like, it was good. It was like later in the performance, I thought it got better and better as it went on, and he had like quite a few cameos and other people that he brought on, which people tend to like. Everyone was thinking Justin Bieber was going to come on. I didn't really think that was going to happen, and it didn't. But it was good, but it just kind of like was right where my
and the ending was like, oh, you're done now. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I will probably never look it up to watch it again, but it was fine for what it was. I agree. There's like a lot of active like halftime show haters that like I feel like no matter what happens, who's performing, people are like, I hated the halftime show. It sucked. Yeah. And it would take a lot for me. Jack Harlow's one performance at whatever football game that was at, I was like, Jack, this is actually like not good.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't tend to be like a halftime show hater.
Like, it just maybe isn't your cup of tea.
I would never post anything about it, you know. Any
book
other
updates? Speaking of, we are hosting our first book club tonight. We may be posting a full-length podcast episode recapping that, so stay tuned. But we are very excited. So
Vegas has been dropped off at my mom's house,
and we have started setting up. We'll finish setting up once we're done podcasting. But let's talk about our books that we've finished up or are reading now. You can start.
I'm currently reading Winter in Paradise by Ellen Hildebrand. This was a trip getting into because, so we're starting this book. Megan's going to read it too, hopefully before we go on vacation. The bulk of it takes place in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We're going on vacation there in March. And Maggie has already read it. She wanted us to read the first book so that then collectively we can all read the second book at the same time on vacation, just for the vibes.
Just for fun.
So I was like, okay, sounds good. I start reading it, and like the main character lives in Iowa City. And so I was like, oh, weird, because we went to school in Iowa City.
It's always interesting. I am just saying this as like, I don't actually know if this is true or not, but like I feel like 9 times out of 10, if you're ever reading a book and it's like taking place or like mentioning Iowa City a lot,
see if the author went to the Iowa Writers Workshop.
Yeah, because it's like a very well-established, well-renowned writing program, and like Iowa City is just not a very, like, why are you picking Iowa City out of all cities ever? And so I looked it up when Ciera had mentioned that, and Ellen Hildebrand had gone to the University of Iowa Writers Program. So
anyway, and it was like just really weird. Maybe it's just because I am familiar with Iowa City that like when other authors do this for places that I haven't been, like
you don't pay
the name dropping is like nothing to me. But she was like mentioning like this street, in this restaurant, in this place, in Coralville, and whatever. And I was like, girly, I believe you. I believe you've been there. I get it. She literally mentioned the street that we lived on. And I was like, this is just a little weird right now. So it's just like the book is weirdly connecting to me right now, which is strange.
Are you enjoying it so far?
It's fine.
Has the romance started yet?
Megan, there is like no romance.
Sorry, I don't know why I keep thinking all her books are
like
romance.
It's like a mystery thriller.
Okay. Thriller?
So, mystery, at least.
In my mind, all her books are romances.
The husband is dead, basically.
Are none of her books romance?
I don't know. This is my first book I'm reading.
Okay. In my mind, that's what all the covers give off.
Megan, 19 minutes. The romance. I'm really excited to read it. Megan just assumes everything's a romance until told otherwise.
Yeah, basically. Okay, never mind. I just finished reading 6 of Crows, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I do plan on eventually continuing on to the second book, which is called Crooked Kingdom, and I kind of honestly feel like I have higher hopes for that one.
You know what it sounded like you said? It sounded like you said Cricket Kingdom.
The Cricket Kingdom. And I feel like towards the end, I was kind of starting to get more of what I wanted the whole time, which was like a little bit more of like the romance. Sue me, okay? Sorry. I picked this book because as I've been getting into fantasy, like I've specifically been looking up romantasy stuff because that's what I want. And this was like not focused on it, but like it certainly
Not enough.
Not enough. Like really like almost nothing.
Okay.
You just know that there's two, like, it's basically like, oh, I see that there's like something here, but like nothing romantically really takes place at all, except for every once in a while he doesn't want her to die. Okay.
Okay.
It was good. In a rough, like not very well explained summary, it's basically them, like this group of like people who run a gang in one part of the town. They are hired by someone higher up to go save a scientist basically from the royal palace because he created something that enhances the magical powers of I forget what they're called, corporality or something. There's like different titles and different sectors of magical powers.
That reminds me of, like, not even just like your description, but for whatever reason I always just like imagine, like, the Umbrella Academy on Netflix, right? And I've only ever seen like maybe one episode of that, but like to me they just like seem similar. So I think the Umbrella Academy is like a family with like the kids were like, they were like adults, but like they're kids that were like created by like this monkey professor, maybe. Or is there a monkey professor there? I don't really know. I should look that up. But like they like have different powers.
To me.
Well, I haven't seen or read either, so it's just in my little brain.
So it's a very dangerous mission. The odds of them dying and not completing it are very high, but they all are very motivated by money or like have reason to work with the main male character who's in charge, who's like leading the mission. And
why is it called Six of Crows?
I know that like they have like a crow club, which isn't really.
I always feel like every
prevalent of a book.
fantasy book you like finish it.
There's not a main reason.
And if someone's like, oh, like why is it called that? I'd be like, that's a good question. I don't know. I have a book journal that I have on my Notion that I've been doing for like every book that I finish. And like I copied it from, I think, Just Allie on YouTube, if you watch any of her book videos. And so like the prompts were stuff that she had pre-written in there. And one of the prompts is like, after reading the book, like, do you understand the title more? Like, would you have picked a different title, whatever? And like literally all of the ACOTAR ones, I'm like, I don't really know why it's called this.
It's just the vibe.
So I'm always like, I read it. I don't know.
I don't care.
And I don't have a different title because I'm not going to think of one.
So I am now reading, I was going to start saying The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and that was not right. The Ballad of the Raptor. And I don't know if I'm like getting to a like 5-star approach, like it's too early to tell, but like I'm certainly like with the banter between the characters, not really banter because it's like just like one-off, like they're not in love yet, but there's stuff that the male main character, he'll say stuff and then I'm like smirking to myself like cause it's funny. So I'm liking it, which I anticipated. So
I feel like this past weekend, which we vlogged by the way, so if you want to see the actual weekend that I'm referring to, check out our YouTube channel. But I feel we had such a good, productive weekend. Vegas, did we mention? I guess we wouldn't have because he didn't have diarrhea when we last recorded. Oh my God. He's like cured now, thank God. But last Wednesday through
rough 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. Vegas had diarrhea. I don't know why. I don't know. He didn't eat anything different. His food didn't change. To my knowledge, he wasn't getting into anything outside. So I don't know if it was just like a bug that he caught or what. He's fine now. But Megan had come home during lunch. He had diarrhea all over his crate. So then Megan like cleaned him up best she could before she had to go back to work. And then when I got home, he had diarrhea again.
Round 2.
And this just like was on repeat for like the first 2 days were the worst probably. And then like had to get a bath every time he got cleaned out. We had to get his crate like taken apart and put together, and like I had to take off his whole crate cover to wash it because he got like poop on the crate cover and it had like spilled out onto like out of his crate onto the floor. We could put it back on. And then there's like one day he was fine. I was like, okay, maybe he's like building up his tolerance, like his poop's getting a little bit more solid. Sorry if this is gross to anyone listening, but it's whatever. And so then, and also, oh my god, the first 2 nights were like the worst nights of sleep that we have
Horrible.
had with him.
Which, like, obviously not his fault, but like every hour or two he was waking up because he needed to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, and like sometimes it was funny because we'd like go and like let him out, and he'd be like a bullet going outside.
Like he needed to go.
So like
now.
you know, good for him for like letting us
really
know.
Potty trained though.
Yeah. And so, there's one night though where Megan had said like, oh, I think his poop's getting a little bit more solid, and I was like, okay. And he had been holding it for like, you know,
like during the day,
4
especially,
or 5 hours at a time.
I don't know what happened at night where like he just couldn't. But like during the day, even when he was like not feeling,
yeah, like after day 2,
like 4 or 5,
yeah,
6
he
hours.
was fine. Like, you know, at lunch and stuff, he could hold it. And then I was like, okay, I think he can make it to 6. And so I heard him like whining and barking and stuff. And I was like, nah, he just like wants to like, he just wants attention. He did not just want attention, and he had in fact pooped in his crate. And so that's like when I woke up, or no, yes, that was when I woke up on Saturday. And so I was like, you guys do not know the morning I've had, because I already had like half a lifetime that I lived. I had to, you know, give him a bath like 5:45 in the morning and like get his crate cleaned out and like, you know, whatever. Anyway, all that to say, I had planned on doing a deep clean this past weekend, but like that just solidified like we need to deep clean because he's had diarrhea.
Yeah.
It was, you know, contained to his corner, but things just felt gross. So our deep clean was very nice, and now we have like book club coming up, and so, you know, it's perfect timing, really.
Perfect timing.
I ran a mile on Sunday, keeping on track with my attempting to run at least 1 mile a month. I ran at a 9:30 pace. It was hard the last 2 minutes. I was getting like is it called a stitch when you get like a side ache? I was getting one of those in my side. Didn't know if I'd be able to finish it off, but I pushed through. And I don't think I'm going to be changing my pace next time. I'll probably stay at 9:30.
Okay. Seems we should jump into the unpopular opinions.
Let's do it.
Okay. You want to start?
I can start. First, unpopular opinion. It's concerning how shoving a camera in someone's face while they're crying or having an emotional moment is becoming more acceptable. Like, I can't even imagine the anger and discomfort that I might feel if someone pointed their camera at me while I'm having a bad day. Just now I saw a video of a girl filming her elderly dad having an anxiety attack, and no one in the comments seemed mad about it. People are getting way too comfortable with posting personal moments on the internet. This is something, obviously it's very prevalent on TikTok, where it's like, you don't always think about like the person holding the camera because you're just watching what's happening. Yeah. But then like you take a step back and you're like, that is like so strange, and I would never do that. Like pull out a camera, even like not just like the emotional or like, you know, embarrassing, sad, chaotic moments, but like in general, just like pulling out a phone to record something. That's like half the time why I feel like it's scripted, especially couples content. That's a whole other thing.
This kind of reminds me of like, there's different TikTok accounts that like will post like, if especially like I've noticed for like older adults with like dementia, whether it's like a spouse or like their kids that are now like their caretakers, they'll post like different situations or just kind of their day-to-day life. And I'm kind of torn because like I do think there can be a way to do it tastefully and educationally, but also like at the end of the day, like this person can't really consent to like being recorded and having you post them online. So like that alone is kind of like,
then on the flip side, couldn't you argue like, yeah, they can't consent, but in some ways if their children are their caretakers, POA for lack of a better term, like they're in charge of like signing whatever release form would be there anyways.
Yeah.
I do think, again, in that sense, it can be educational, it can be helpful if it's not showing things in like a bad light to like educate people on like what dementia looks like.
Yeah.
I think like specifically for this, when it's like, I think of like kids having like a meltdown in the car with like, you know, something that didn't go their way.
Or like family vloggers on YouTube.
And it's like,
there's different states that are now like trying to create laws to like
protect
safeguard kids.
I mean, they probably should. There's just like a lot of moments as a kid where it's like, it's hard enough to like maybe talk to stuff like with your parents anyways. Like if you're embarrassed or angry, upset, and you're just trying to like process your emotions, because as a child sometimes that alone is like impossible, and then like having your parent record that and upload it and like have strangers who don't even know you like comment on like how your parents are parenting or like how you're reacting, and you're just like, I'm just a child. So I do think it's happening. It's probably, you know, definitely way more normalized, like this person is saying, than we think about. Like we should challenge ourselves to like next time we see a video like that where it's like half the time, again, I don't even think about it because I'm just like watching, I'm consuming content, and half the time I don't think about like, oh, it's weird that they're recording this. Like it's, you know, weird enough that you wouldn't do it.
Someone else to bring it up for you to be like,
like if you're looking at the comments and you're like, that is weird, but I didn't think about it being weird.
Unpopular or not?
I feel like I wouldn't necessarily say unpopular. I think people would agree with this. I do think people might come from like our perspective of like, I don't even think about it that much. So.
Okay. How about next one? Almost all actors nowadays are completely interchangeable. This has been something I've been thinking about every now and then, and I will try to explain it the best way I can, so try to bear with me. To start, here are some common phrases that don't really make any sense to me. X actor's performance was phenomenal in that movie and deserves an Oscar. I hope that they cast X actor for this upcoming movie. I love movies with X actor and will watch it just because he or she is in it. Now the reason that the above doesn't make any sense is threefold. The goal of an actor is to get you completely immersed in the story. Almost every actor in Hollywood now is extremely skilled in accomplishing this. Any added performance/acting skills once the threshold to get the viewer immersed in the story has been crossed is irrelevant. I feel like right off the bat here, I'm not agreeing with this opinion for a couple of reasons.
I feel like I get what they're saying though.
I get what they're saying, but I think that they're also not recognizing there's different movies that like sometimes like there's movies made for an actor or like with an actor in mind because it's the role that they're like so used to and familiar with playing. Like Adam Sandler freaking writes, and I don't know that he directs all his movies. I don't know his production company situation, but like all his movies and his characters, I feel like are basically the same in all of them.
I think
it's like
part
that's
of it,
what you know and expect from an Adam Sandler movie.
This is going off of what you're saying because I do agree, is that a lot of actors take on roles like in similar style movies or types of movies, and so maybe you say, oh, like I, you know, love Adam Sandler as an actor and like I'm gonna go see all of his movies. Maybe you just love comedies, specifically with like Adam Sandler's style of comedy. Therefore, you're going to go see all of his movies because like that's what you're seeking out. If you're a big, I don't know who else, Tom Hanks fan. Tom Hanks has like some pretty good range, but like he'll do like a lot of like serious, emotional, like thought-provoking movies typically. And so if like that's what you're into, you're like, if it's good enough for Tom Hanks, it's good enough for me. I feel like that's what people...
like also like you kind of like have like you trust the accolades of the actor and like what roles they would take on. And so if you have a good history of movies you've liked with that actor or actress, then you're probably going to be like, this is also
probably a good movie.
Probably going to be good.
Versus like if, you know, random Joe Schmo that you've never heard of is in that movie, it could be just as good.
He just needed a job, maybe.
But well, I'm saying like it could be just as good of a movie, but you might not be as inclined to see it if it's not, you know, Tom Hanks in it, because you don't know Joe Schmo. You know Tom Hanks, and you trust Tom Hanks, but you don't trust Joe Schmo.
Yeah.
So really, the actors just are providing good ethos for you.
I get what this person is saying, but I feel like this is how I think too. Like what they're saying, I'm like, oh, I really like this actor actress. I'm gonna plan on trying to see that movie.
Yeah, I think we did unpack that well. I think it is like the credibility of the actor.
Yeah.
That you just like buy into.
Not that I don't like, you know, new up and coming actors and actresses.
Sometimes you want somebody you've never heard of before.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in an ACOTAR series, if that were to ever happen, I want no one.
Yeah.
I want to know no one. Because then I feel like
I'd be like, this isn't X actor trying to play this character who I have like so deep in my mind envisioned, and like that's not. I feel like I wouldn't be able to step into the world. Versus if it was like someone that I didn't know, and then like they're just now being introduced to me as
that character. Then you're like, okay, I believe it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any interesting comments on that one?
If you give me a second, maybe. I think it's less of a case of actors being interchangeable and more a case for modern movies all following the same general plot and story structure. You can swap out any character or actress for a role because the role is extremely basic and can accommodate pretty much anyone. I don't know. Nothing else really
I liked ours.
stands out.
I liked our conversation. Next one. The Super Bowl is more enjoyable when your team doesn't make it. Watching Super Bowl or any major tournament is far more enjoyable and less stressful when your team doesn't make it there. When you don't have any real vested interest, you can enjoy the game instead of stressing yourself out. I think this one is partially correct, partially incorrect. When it's low stakes and you have no skin in the game, hence us, like this past Super Bowl,
Yeah.
it's fine.
I feel like it's also kind of like you just mourn at different times. Like everyone else, whether they were done after the regular season or they like lost a playoff game, like they mourned at that time. And it was fun up until that point, until they lost and then they were out. Versus the people who hadn't won the Super Bowl, like they hadn't mourned a loss yet.
Or like it's that Riverdale quote where it's like the epic highs and lows of high school football. Like, yeah, if you don't have any skin in the game, it's fine.
Highs are high.
But like if your team is in it, then like it's the same with like any sports, you know. I watch Iowa football in like a regular season game where like it's just us and some random team. I'm like, my heart's invested in it. Like I experienced the highs and lows of college football, and like there's also like no better feeling than that too. So personally, I like having vested interest. I think it makes it more fun having stake in the game.
I think so too. Like
there have been times where I've been like physically like I'm gonna pass out from like screaming so much. I'm talking about specifically about like Iowa football being like at the stadium. I'm gonna pass out because I'm screaming too much and I'm lightheaded. I'm like feeling sick to my stomach because like my heart is about to get like torn to pieces.
Especially like I went to Nebraska games. I don't know why. I literally, there's been multiple times where like there's almost tears that I'm like about to cry because I want to win so bad.
And like, who am I but a girl just watching a football game? Why am I so emotionally invested?
But I think that's part of like, I think it's just good and fun and nice to have things you're emotionally connected to and you care about. Like I know people say like sports are stupid, who really cares? Like it's not that deep, but like isn't life just meant to feel? Aren't you just meant to feel things?
Someone said less stressful, sure, more enjoyable. I mean, it all depends if your team wins or not. All-time fun versus terrible feeling.
Yeah. Here's another Super Bowl related one, back to the commercials. In the 90s, we had amazing and creative and memorable commercials during the NFL Super Bowl. These days, they're just normal commercials that have been put on at their purchased airtime slot. I noticed this year specifically because Ciera, myself, and Abby, we were all kind of like, we'll kind of like talk about the commercials as they come on and share what we think. And just more often than not, I was kind of like,
that was a Super Bowl commercial?
That was your Super Bowl commercial? Like, it wasn't just like a normal commercial. That was your Super Bowl commercial?
Oh, I remember the Elf commercial. That one was good. Judge Beauty. Oh. Like, it had like a lot of like smart cameos.
Yeah.
So it was like Judge Judy as a judge, and it had like the guy from Suits as the lawyer. It had the guy from Jury Duty was like on the jury. Like that was like clever. I liked how they did that.
That was a good one. One I thought like specifically, I think it was whatever one, Quinta, that's her name, right?
Quinta Brunson.
It was like Verizon, or I don't know. There was like lots of red on the commercial. I don't remember what the commercial was for.
So clearly, good.
I just remember thinking like, this is it. Like it was basically just her talking to the camera. And granted, it was like, I swear it was like for like $100,000 cash prize, like do this. But it was like, you're hardly even like selling. I don't even know what cash prize, like what are we entering here? I also feel like a Super Bowl commercial really needs to like, you need to quickly know what is being sold to you. Otherwise I feel like as an ad, you're like losing the audience because I'm trying to figure out what is going on. What really confuses me, because like there's quite a bit of like movie promo done during Super Bowls now. So I found myself a couple of times being like, is this a movie trailer or is this a commercial trying to like,
what do you think of the State Farm ad?
I kind of like, I feel like it makes sense as a Super Bowl commercial because of like the cameos that they had and all of that. But like, I don't know, it wasn't the funniest thing ever to me.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, I was like, obviously he has like his accent, and I'm like, well, he's an accent.
I know.
So he's not gonna say neighbor.
Yeah.
So what's the joke?
Thought that too.
I was like, this isn't our first rodeo. We've heard accents before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was there any other ads that I had thought about? Yeah, I agree. I think that Super Bowl ads, I just honestly don't know if they're even like as profitable these days.
Yeah.
And that's probably like part of the reason that people like don't invest in making an actual Super Bowl commercial.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Disney Plus, I'm still like kind of confused because it was like the Taylor Swift, like, you know, it's related to her
That was
Eras
a low budget
Tour
one.
movie. It was like fine.
To be honest, I was kind of like, I don't know how long that deal had been in the works, but like usually don't you have to have like a Super Bowl commercial like figured out like X amount of time ahead of the slot. And then like I swear I just heard news about like them confirming.
And then I was
that they
wondering,
were gonna
this is like a
have it.
side tangent. I've heard theories that she's going to like have released both debut and rep her versions before March 15th. Because it's like, or maybe not, I don't know. Because her movie right now is not marketed as Taylor's version, right?
No, but it's
So like, why is it being marketed as Taylor's
they've already
version
said
now?
why.
Why?
Because she's adding in like acoustic things of like 4 other songs and something else.
Oh.
It says
Well,
what's
then-
different.
I saw theories of people saying like she's going to own all of the songs in that movie and that's why it's going to be Taylor's version. So then there were theories that she was going to release
I don't
both
think
albums. I mean, I don't think so either, but
so. Yeah. Apparently she's like gonna make her directorial debut for a full length movie like next year.
like an
after
actual like
she's-
legit movie.
I don't fully know the premise, but I don't think there's a lot out about it. But someone who's a bigger Swiftie than I am was like sharing his theory about why he thinks it would make the most sense for her to wait and hold off and release both of those albums, Taylor's version, next year while she's busy doing a movie and directing a movie, so that there's still like new content being pushed out, and just like it makes the most sense like marketing wise. So
Interesting.
it'll be
Okay.
a long time, but
It's been a long time coming. Okay, is it my turn?
yeah.
Gatekeeping isn't bad as people make it out to be. Not much to say here. While I understand that elitism is a pain, that doesn't mean everyone should be involved in a hobby, especially if said hobby is niche. A good example of what happens when you don't gatekeep is Metal Gear Rising. I don't know what this is.
I feel like this isn't even talking about gatekeeping, at least not in the way that I usually think about gatekeeping.
Let me finish what they're saying. While I wouldn't call it niche to begin with, the popularity of the game overshadowed the Metal Gear series as a whole and led to one of the most oversaturated content of all time and pretty much ran the game to the ground. So I'm not familiar with this game. But like they're saying,
It's
you
okay
know,
to keep
sometimes,
things a secret.
yeah, so it doesn't get oversaturated. Or like
I'm the
people
opposite
on
of this.
TikTok say
If I
like,
love
you know, don't
something-
sell this out.
If I love something, like I want everyone to know about it, and I don't
I want
really think
to
about the
be-
repercussions.
Because I want to be the person that's like, oh, Ciera like told me about this. I want to be like
Yeah.
the inside scoop person.
I also feel like I just hate, especially for like products and stuff, for example, because I feel like that's what I was primarily thinking of. Like I am someone who like, if it makes sense and like is an easy thing for me to do, anytime that I can like tag an item of clothing on Instagram, like if it's feasible and I think someone might ask about it, like I'll try to tag where things are from. If someone comments asking something where it's from, I try to respond back. Like it's just, I so despise like if I'm seeing that, or if someone's seeing a comment asking where's this from or what info do you have on that, like they just want your help. They
They're
just want
begging for your help.
they just want the cute shirt or jeans or whatever it is.
And you should be honored that they liked your style.
So yeah.
Yeah, I get a high when I think about me shouting out those Brooklyn pants to our entire PT class for
Right?
PT school. And then everyone's like, oh, like I got them and I love them. Like I got them and I love them. And I'm like, you're welcome.
No gatekeeping here.
No gatekeeping.
Like, imagine
You're
it-
welcome, girlies.
No one does this in real life, I feel like, but like imagine if someone like came up and was like, where are your pants from? And you're just like, not sure.
Couldn't tell ya.
No idea. I'd be like, well, can you
Turn around.
I'll look at this. I'll look at the tag for you.
Okay, what is your next one?
Okay, this person said paper straws work fine. A few years ago, most fast food places switched to some kind of paper straws. I've seen endless memeing and complaining about them online, but I've never had them get soggy or anything like that. Granted, I've always finished my drink within 30 minutes or so.
See, I feel like I finished my drinks within 30 minutes. And
here's
like
what maybe I
paper
just have like a
straws
slobbery mouth or something.
always
The-
disintegrate on me.
They fall apart. Not like literally fall apart, but like where my mouth is at and it's wet, it continues to get progressively worse.
And,
I
it
remember
loses
like in
its
Hawaii, because like nowhere in Iowa really that I can think of uses paper straws.
You know, I think is weird. This is like a side tangent, but like Starbucks has those sippy cup lids now that like for refreshers and stuff. I think it's kind of weird when people like ask for straws
We've talked about this before.
with those sippy cups on the podcast.
I think so.
I'm always just like, it's not that hard to drink from the sippy cup.
That's my thought too. I like the sippy cup thing.
Me too.
Anyways, some people are just straw people.
And we don't know people's abilities. Sometimes straws are necessary. So.
Yeah. In Hawaii, when we went not last year, it was when we went, I actually don't remember having any issues with paper straws last time we went, because I really don't feel like we had them.
Yeah,
anyways, because Hawaii is so like conscientious of
the environment,
when we went to Oahu with Maggie 2 years ago, I remember getting Starbucks multiple times on that trip, and that was when we were getting frappuccinos still, which was like already kind of hard enough.
Person now,
which was already like hard enough to drink out of a paper straw.
Oh my god!
But it was just like, oh my god,
I just had a flashback.
I'm so sick of using this paper straw, not plastic straw.
Completely unrelated. But a couple months ago, Megan and I went to Zombie Burger and got milkshakes, and it had a straw, obviously. And that milkshake was so thick that my mouth and my cheeks
normal straw
were getting sore, creating a vacuum trying to get that milkshake into my mouth. And so that just reminded me of that. I had to share.
I personally I don't think paper straws are the solution. I don't like them. I don't like using them. Yeah.
Like at that point, just give everyone a metal straw. It's going to be more expensive for you, but I don't know how else to... Like a paper straw just isn't going to work. Okay, I have another football one. Someone said, American football's popularity has less to do with the quality of the game than the fact that the championship can have a party planned around it. I believe baseball would never have been rivaled as America's favorite sport if everyone could plan well in advance to be at the party on one set day for its final championship game.
Do you think baseball would still be the leading American sport?
Yes.
I feel like the Super Bowl, while it is a big day, like that does not explain just the entire popularity
that's what I was going
of
to say.
Football.
And like I get what they're saying for like the World
no.
Series, but then you could argue like the World Series is up to 7 final games and like there's a party every time.
I definitely think with sports like basketball and baseball, like they are losing their allure with how many games that they play. Like it's ridiculous.
Because I don't watch basketball, especially like NBA basketball. And I especially remember I was like, the championship thing is still going on. Like I would talk to you because you know a little bit more. I think you're more in the loop with that than I am. And I'm like, it's still going on. And I had no interest to watch.
I think that if they want to increase like fan base, they have to like decrease the number of games they play, because like the supply is going up, demand is going down. They need to decrease supply, increase the demand, and that was the water problem.
Yeah, I don't think that like the fact that like no one is watching football all season long for the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And also like doesn't explain like college football is insanely popular. Yeah, you could argue like the championship game is like the same kind of thing, but like most sports aside from baseball and basketball have like this is the big game, like this is the final one. That's actually why soccer has like the same type of deal, right? Where it's like multiple games, like, 3 wins or whatever.
I don't know.
But then you could argue, like, isn't soccer like the most popular sport in the world? And they're doing the same thing that you're complaining about. So, I think football is popular because it's a good game.
It's my favorite thing to watch. Okay. Dating apps are incredible. This is their unpopular opinion.
And boy, is it unpopular.
Okay. Dating apps are great. First off, they're super fun and incredibly efficient. Want someone over 6 feet? Easy. Need to find someone within 15
pay for that.
miles? No problem. First of all, yeah. I'm not paying for that.
The second I start paying for my dating life, you need to cut me loose or something.
You get to meet all kinds of different people who you've already pre-vetted and see if you click. How is that a problem? When I was single, I had the opportunity to go on some great dates and meet wonderful people on several different apps, including my now wife. I'm also going to a destination wedding later this year for a couple that met via Hinge, and many of my friends have met their partners online without issues. Frankly, I would have never met my wife had I not found her there, and while there are issues like creeps, etc., that's something that you can run into in real life, and you can filter out those people pretty quickly. For people I've talked to who aren't getting matches, they either tend to live in an area with not enough density / haven't set their search parameters wide enough, have terrible pictures, or more commonly, they're abusing the algorithm and getting it downgraded in results, like swiping right on everyone. Or they just suck at talking to people. Anyways, that's basically the gist of their...
I understand, like, the idea...
Here's the thing. I think, in theory, dating apps are great. But, like, at the end of the day, the point of the dating app and why everyone kind of, like, has, like, a negative connotation towards them is, like, you're trying to meet your person if you're taking dating seriously. I guess people use it for different reasons. But, like, therefore, until you meet your said person, which this person has...
Then they're not having a good time.
Then it's not really working out as you intended it to. Because I agree. I like that you can pre-vet people with things that are important to you, and you have, like, if someone fills out their profile nicely, I'm just like, I have all of the, like, important bits and pieces of information to kind of at least, like, have an idea.
Like, should you or should you not go on a date?
Right.
With this
and
person?
If you're meeting someone in real life, like, you aren't doing that. You have no idea until you actually, like, discuss that with them. So I do like that. I agree with that. I also feel like it's obviously less nerve-wracking to just, like, be online on a dating app and mutually kind of agree, like, oh, we both find each other attractive. That takes away, like, the awkward cold approach that doesn't really seem like it happens anymore. But I still kind of disagree with...
I feel like it's also
them.
just, like, people who are on dating apps are also, like, you know, potentially also dating in real life. And so maybe it's just, like, the negative, like, dating in general sucks.
Yeah.
And it gets pushed onto the dating apps, too.
Yeah.
Okay. Read receipts should always be on, and if they are not on, you're actively choosing to communicate worse. We need to level up our communication game, and our phone text messaging service gives us an easy option for it. Why do I keep mine on for everyone? I want people to see I read their messages. Even if I'm unable to respond in the exact moment I have seen it, I am considering it, and I will respond when I can. I don't need to write a got it or okay or any such thing, though I often do. I also always respond to texts as soon as I can. I don't have an inbox with hundreds of unread texts. I always have 0-1 unread texts. I love when people have theirs on too, and I can see when someone has read my text. The fact everyone would be anxious that someone read but didn't respond to their text in a time they deem reasonable is a self-esteem issue that they should deal with. It's not on the receiver to respond in the time the sender thinks is necessary. Then they have more stuff, but
they're a little bit more passionate about this than I am, but, like, I am fully on the same page with them. In terms of, like,
I think I only have my read receipts on for select people.
Really?
I think so.
I got mine on for everyone. I wish everyone that I was texting had them on. I wish in groups you could see who freaking read messages.
Now I don't know, like, who I do or don't have it on for. I have it on for, like, most people that I text regularly.
I just like knowing when people have read and seen the message that I've sent.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes I just get, like, scared that I'm gonna, like, open it when I didn't need to, and, like,
If
I
anything,
didn't
you
plan
can
on
just,
responding
like,
for a while.
swipe it and say unread, or, like, leave, like, turn notification back on.
Like, to remember it. But I'm saying, like, what if I meant to, like, wait? Because I am someone who likes to respond. Like, if they know I've read it, I want to, like,
Well, hold on.
respond.
Let's test it out. It would go back to saying not read, wouldn't it?
On your phone?
It would not change on yours?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's just, like, give you the notification.
We'll find out. I texted Ciera.
Live for you guys right now.
She'll open it.
Okay.
I obviously, like, I'm in the message, so I see that you read it. But
So
then you
want me to say,
go and unread it.
how do I do that?
Like, you go back to the message page and then swipe.
Okay.
It still says read.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, I don't really care if people know that I read the message. And sometimes, guess what? I did read it and I did forget to respond. That happens often enough when I'm at work. So then someone at least knows I read it. Maybe they're waiting for a response.
Then they exclamation point or question mark it because they're like, hello.
Because at that point, like, they know that, like, you read it. So I feel like it's appropriate.
I feel like then I get the idea that people would, like, then get annoyed that I saw it and didn't respond. So I like them to just not know that I've seen it.
I disagree.
Because I feel like I can get annoyed when I'm like, you read it, respond. And so then I project that, and that's how people would interpret me.
Well, sometimes.
But, like, for you, I would be annoyed if you didn't have it on for me. Because, like, you and I'm like, what are you doing? And there's, like, again, close friends and family. I'm like, hello, did you read it? Like, I want to know. But, like, more, like, work stuff or, like, people that I don't regularly communicate with, I'm like, just say delivered. I'll respond when I can.
I don't care that much about that, but I also, like, I've never gone and changed it for different people. Do you have to, like, then, like, you change it specifically for different people?
I think so. I haven't had to change it in a while because I haven't, like, texted anyone.
You started working and you're like, okay, we're all these
Well,
people.
to be fair, most of the work stuff I have is on, like, GroupMe or something. Or WhatsApp.
Here's my last one. Dinner first dates suck. To be honest, I don't feel like reading their whole, like, spiel, so we can just go off.
I have gone on a dinner first date, and it is just, like, a little bit more than I want.
I wish I could think of, like, what the perfect ideal first date would be, because, like, I feel like on a dinner first date, you don't really, like, you can get to know just about anyone. Like, when you're going to dinner, like, you're just meeting them and trying to get to know someone.
Yeah.
But there's usually, like, you'd have no idea if there's any chemistry there at all, because you're just, like, eating food and, like, talking. So I'm like, there needs to be some sort of, like, better activity where you can, like, interact a little bit more. But I don't know what that good activity would be.
I always like, if you're going to do food, like, an ice cream first date is, like, so simple. And, like, you can, like, go for, like, a walk if you, like, are getting ice cream typically. Like, if you know, like, there's this little ice cream shop, we can get our ice cream and, like, walk around a little bit. Ice cream's not pretty low maintenance as long as it's not, like, melting all over you. But yeah, like, a dinner date is fine. It's just, like, oh, like, you're eating and then you're, like, trying to talk.
And some people like it because, like, it's kind of like it shows intention of, like, wanting to, like, being willing to, like, spend the time and money it takes to go on a dinner date. But, like,
if you're going on dates often enough, that's gonna be expensive.
I know.
I mean, I'm not paying, so so, you know, it's up to you. But,
like, I could see why a guy wouldn't want to do that every time. He's like, oh my god, I'm just trying to meet people. I can't be spending $30 or what have you.
Budget his dating life. Okay. This is my last one I'm gonna share. Stop being polite and letting me cross first. I walk a lot and enjoy bike rides. My least favorite encounter is always someone who looks like they are in a hurry, overshoot the white line at the stop, and then suddenly notice me and wave me to cross. In no way do I want to cross in front of your car. Nope. And then insisting you cross by waving is usually not that helpful. I will cross when I feel safe, and maybe I want to look around the corner for a second. I'm not in a hurry. Plus, when you are the only car, it would be so much faster for us both if they just blow through quickly like they originally planned. I'm team, like, I understand pedestrians have the right of way, and if you're a pedestrian and you're crossing well in advance of when a car is coming, then, like, yeah, go for it.
If the car gets there first.
You know what's weird? I, take Vegas on a walk regularly. I'm walking down, like, the street coming up to our street, like, the path that I take, and I'm coming, like, up around a corner where it's like there is a street here that I could cross, but I always turn right to go down the sidewalk to get towards our house. And I'm not kidding you. I'm, like, coming up to the corner, not indicating which direction I'm going at all. I'm just walking. And a car's coming and, like, legit stops, like, 20 feet short of where I would maybe cross the street. And then I'm turning the corner because that's not where I'm going. And then they start going again.
They were really they wanted to
I'm just like, safe. What are you doing? Just go.
Yeah. I feel like it should be, like, on, like, a four-way stop. If the car is there first, I'm not at the intersection, you have to cross the street, like, you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Or, like, 9 times out of 10, you're the car. You're gonna go faster than I am anyways. I could start crossing the street and you can blow right past. I'm not even gonna run into you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I had.
That's all I had as well.
Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let us know if you had any differing opinions for this Unpopular Opinions episode. We're gonna try and get better at Instagram again. We're back on our Instagram grind.
We're working on it.
So you can hopefully
surprisingly
comment.
Those, like, couple posts a week take it out of you.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked.
So if there is an episode post for this podcast episode,
you should go.
Then you can comment on that one, your thoughts. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe if you haven't already. You can leave a comment on here too if you want.
Otherwise, we will talk to you guys next Thursday. Bye.